Wendy as well. Let's go through some stuff.
Perfect. So, what do we have any updates or anything to start with?
Well, yeah. So we got I guess we got the 1.7 build that's going to be coming out, I believe, the first week of May, for the cribs and condos. Right. Let me just get the feature list for cribs and condos, so we can talk about what features we're gonna get.
And this is the 1.7 update coming next.
Yes, it's the 1.7 update coming next. We've got some cool ones. We've got 1.8, which will follow after that, which is the 1.8 I'm really looking forward to. And I'm requesting a 1.9 as well with some secret updates. But I just got to get the updates on my machine now. My daily updates. I'll do it again every day. Boom. Okay. I'm not going to share my screen because my updates actually have things that I can't share publicly yet. But if I go down to ribs
The
and
room
con,
doesn't mind. The room doesn't mind if you share things you're not supposed to.
I guess. Okay, so the feature list I see is possessable avatars. So your VFlex that you own will now be possessable in the cribs, which is super cool. You'll be able to go in, if you have a VFlex NFT selected as an avatar, rather than using those default ones that we have currently, which makes it a lot more personalized and super cool. Um, NFT or sound toggle. I know we did some initial work with toggling sound. There's been some updates to that, and this is where I need Yaka to fully flesh out exactly what that sound toggle was. But we've got that update coming. Wallpaper
Is that
adjustments. So
the?
like, you gone?
I was gonna say, is that the music NFTs? Where people can put their music NFTs in the cribs and hear their
No,
music, or
so that is one of the updates, which is the music. They're calling it the music library.
oh, nice.
Yeah, so the music library update is coming in this release, where you should be able to load your own music into your crib, etc., etc. So you got the wallpaper adjustment. So sometimes you place a wallpaper and parts of it are cut off or it needs to be realigned. So that update is coming, which is super cool one. And then you got the music library. I don't have much details on the music library, to be honest. Um, 'Cause from my understanding, it was always just a load a music file or your NFTs, and NFTs that are sync to music and you can play it, right? But don't hold me to that. It might be a little bit different to what we're anticipating. I'll get some clarification before the release. Um,
awesome.
3D item snapping improvements, right? So I know we had like some wall snapping, and there's going to be some improvements in the way we do 3D item snapping. And then our improved virtual profile system, which is our SSO system. Um, so we've got, of course, the entire ecosystem of Virtua. We're looking at the way we manage identity, and there's different levels, right? Some users want to remain completely anonymous, which is all great for decentralized crypto-based, blockchain-based projects. Others, they're happy to have their username and password. But the way we're improving that is, you have your connect your crypto account. You can similar thing that we've got on Prime Dashboard, where you can add multiple wallets, etc., etc. That's all things you can do with SSO. We are looking at multi-factor authentication. I don't know if that'll be in this release or future release. So when you log in using your email and password, you can get like a one-time passcode to verify that you are who you are. It goes to your email and then you log in or your Google Authenticator. So we're looking at improving how we manage identity management. And then if we're doing across experiences. Eventually, it's like you log in that in one place, and then across the multiple web experiences, you all have to log in again. So that's where we're trying to get it to, and a bit more enterprisey with that. So that the first iteration for the cribs is coming, so you should see some improvements there. So that's the feature list I've got. Some of the things we're working on for 1.8. We are looking at converting DLCs that we have currently as FBX files to GLBs, just for performance and memory optimization, because GLBs are much more compressed or optimized format for 3D models. So we're going to be looking at how we phase out the legacy inventory and provide GLBs for them available for within the cribs rather than FBX files, which means more powerful cribs because people can load more items before they start seeing memory issues. But the voice over IP is in 1.8, I believe. The other two big ones, and there's a few other community features that will be coming, but the one I'm looking forward to, and I probably can't talk about it now because is also Ready Player Me avatars, right? Supporting Ready Player Me. A lot of people have Ready Player Me avatars in the metaverse ecosystem. So we're looking at getting that made available within our cribs and all the future experiences that we build. So you have your possessable reflex, or you have the option to use your Ready Player Me avatars as well. So we've been in contact with Ready Player Me, we've been working with them to make sure we get the avatars integrated. We do have internal proof of concepts. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's gonna be really cool because I know a lot of people love those customized, personalized avatars that they kind of make to represent themselves. The V Flex are really cool, and there's definitely several people that want to represent themselves as a V Flex, but with the Ready Player Me, you can kind of are you going to be able to choose, like, I can use a Ready Player Me avatar this time, and the next time I can switch back to my Disco Solaris V Flex?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. You won't be locked in. You won't be locked into one avatar. Right? So every time you log in, you can choose which avatar you want to use. And I believe there's a concept of our virtual profile system is you choose your default, but obviously you go to navigation, check out the menus, and you can go and change if you want to be a Vflex avatar or use a different Ready Player Me avatar. But that will be there.
Love that. Love that. That's really cool because depending on what I'm doing or where I'm at, sometimes I might want my a certain one of my V Flex, and then other times I might just want to be me. But yeah, I didn't even know about the 1.9. That's gonna be some exciting little Easter eggs of hidden
Yeah,
updates we
absolutely. I
have
mean,
going on.
once we've done with that 1.9, then we're going to look at, I guess I should speak about it, is a mobile app version of the cribs. So it's not just in WebGL. And obviously that will, give you the power of accessing the cribs on your phone in a really nice way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have a couple questions. So, J-Easy, 1.7 update, will it have quests? The quests are with the dashboard. That's not, the 1.7 update is for the cribs and condos. So it's the quests are separate from that. That'll be the version 2 of the dashboard will have the quest rolling out. Is that correct, Denise?
So I'm muting myself. I was trying to find it. I'm muting. You're absolutely right. Yes.
And then it says, when will we have a hot fix for the dashboard 1.0, and also when will we have the Lace wallet integration into the dashboard?
Okay, so we're in touch with the Lace team. The conversations we've had is Lace for now is just stays in pre-production before we go to a production level. But obviously, we're partnered with them, and we are working closely to make sure that when we release with the Lace wallet integration, it's a super smooth, streamlined release. We've got a joint Slack channel where we've got their devs and our guys in constant communication. It is scheduled in our roadmap, but then, yeah, it has to be aligned with the Lace guys to make sure that we get the best experience possible. Lace, I do believe Lace is probably the future of wallet for Cardano. And with that should come better support for things like Ledger, right, and hardware wallets. Because that's one of the key features is that they've got improved support for hardware wallets. And one of the issues, and we're speaking with other dev teams in the Cardano space and how they manage hardware wallets. And there's a reoccurring theme, especially when you've got a lot of UTXOs and a lot of assets in one hardware wallet, and actually getting all that information in a clear and coherent way. It does take a lot of processing and indexing power, and that can change, right? So it becomes an expensive operation for what should be something that's relatively simple. And this is a consistent issue across the Cardano space at the moment. I'm hoping Lacey will actually solve that, but that's yet to be seen, right?
Yeah, I know me personally, I have, one of my wallets has 3,507 assets in it and around 12,000 transactions. And that wallet does not do hardly anything with any program with ledger or
Yeah.
ledgers and stuff.
At that level, at that level, my rule of thumb is just spread out your assets across multiple wallets rather than keeping them in one. It does become hard for like dApps to index those UTXOs and get that data that's in those wallets.
Yeah, and hopefully that'll be something that with Cardano, as Lace Wallet and some of these other rollouts and stuff happen, that'll become more and more user friendly. I guess is a good way to put it, for not just businesses, projects, and developers on the system, but also for users, because I know the mass public is not going to it's not very easy for most people to kind of figure out and go look around, ask a bunch of questions, and try to decide how to make it
Absolutely,
work
and
together.
I think what's interesting is what's evolving in the space is the idea of account abstraction, right? That's a technical term for saying you still have your on-chain wallets, but you should be able to log in with your username and password. And basically, your wallet is no longer what's known as an externally owned account. It's now actually its own smart contract. And it'll be interesting to see how that idea evolves on the Cardano ecosystem. I know in the EVM world, you've got things like Genosis safe for multi-sig wallets. And other variants of account abstraction. Reddit did a really good one with their NFT drop, right? Where you couldn't even tell you had a blockchain-based wallet for the avatars that they sold, right? So it's really to get mainstream adoption of wallets, it needs to be seamless, right? So you end up treating your wallet almost like a Lace would help with the NFT scanner, right? Which is what I'm hoping, in the way that it presents us that information back via APIs. But yeah, so so I just saw Lee's question and started answering it. But yeah, so account abstraction is the next evolution in wallets, right? So instead of having wallets that are managed by plugins, right? Wallets will be a better, more seamless experience, and each app will manage the way they showcase information from wallets within their own application, while it's still decentralized and off-chain. Get the benefits of only having to remember your email and password if you so wish, or traditional methods of accessing any type of banking accounts, right? Which is super cool, I think, to get crypto mainstream adoption, right?
It
The
makes it
only thing you
much.
do lose is the anonymous element, right? Um, but then that option will always be there. The traditional users can carry on using the externally owned accounts, but I don't think that's something that mainstream adoption wants, right? They like the decentralized idea, but if you help them with just giving them a login and password and giving them a wallet as a smart contract, that's the next stage. And I think at that level, it will make it easier to manage what sits in people's wallets and stuff. Or I'm hoping.
Yeah, that'll be so much nicer for user experience, especially, you know, like you said, as we bring in mainstream and, our market is really, like I said, it's the global market, not the crypto market. And to really tap into that global market, you really need that kind of user experience where it's much easier and streamlined, and kind of simple to do. No one wants to take a 2-week education course on how to use blockchain to be able to, play a game or, participate in some experiences and such.
Exactly, exactly. And what you will see is because of this account abstraction and the need for wallet plugins no longer being crucial, you'll see the ability to have a wallet on numerous platforms that didn't have that accessibility. So imagine your console-based games, right? Having a wallet. That's
Yeah,
huge, right?
that's it.
Yeah, that's
It's
huge.
it's going to be the next level for and the next step really for I think
Yeah.
wave of onboarding in that way.
So there's a couple of questions on Dashboard 1.0. We've talked a little bit about the Lace Wallet integration. We released the hotfix last week on Friday, I believe, which resolved as many functional bugs as we could. I know we've got some community feedback on visual elements, and we're looking at improving the information you get and the visual side of it with our future releases. So anticipate some of those visual fixes to come when we release quests or crafting in the future. But there are some outstanding functional bugs that we are prioritizing and we are looking at. I'm actually flying out to Pakistan next week to deeper dive with the team to look at how we resolve some of these issues and how we get better at delivering this stuff faster with a higher quality output. Um, that's just the like honest truth there. Right?
Yeah, that's gonna be really because you guys are kind of workshop on all that kind of stuff on, you know, improving experiences and also improving output and flow deliverables and stuff like that. And was it you, Yaka, Jawad, and
Yeah,
Parvez
me,
going?
Yaka, Juad, Pervez isn't available. Ash is going to be out there. Um, and a couple of other guys behind the scenes who aren't publicly facing, so I won't drop their names, but they'll be out there. So there's a whole core team that's flying out to work with our devs in Pakistan and get some good outputs hopefully.
That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jebtels is asking, do we have an expected date for the release of the Virtua Hub?
The virtual hub and the outdoor space, outside spaces. Um, with the outside spaces, I'm probably going to be the bad guy here. We have a delay on that. Um, so I can't give you an expected date for that. With the virtual hub, we are looking likely at Q4 release. And even that was a Q3 release originally. We're looking at Q4 now purely because there's a whole heap of things that we're looking to do between now and Q4 that will enhance the experience with the metaverse questing, crafting, and um, using some games hopefully that can tie into everything that we're doing, right? So some hyper casual games. None of this has been talked about, right? I'm hoping over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks we'll start talking more and more about these things, and you guys can see what I've found is that we have a tendency to try and deliver too big of an item rather than smaller iterative pieces, which is how we're trying to readjust now. So deliver fast and small iterative wins, rather than delivering the big thing. But that does mean some of the other items do get a little bit pushed out, so we can, you know, plan in some smaller drops in between, and that eventually allows us to go into a bigger ecosystem of a metaverse.
Yeah, I like to say it's kind of changing up the kitchen. Instead of delivering one large meal, it's like delivering like a 7-course meal. So 7 smaller portions, all coming in one meal,
Exactly.
as opposed to
It's the
one large buffet all at once.
Michelin star metaverse, bro.
Love it, love it. Our niece is our own little Gordon Ramsay. Um, oh, do we have any news on Nitro League game or any kind of integration that's happening with that?
I am actually waiting on updates for Nitro League. I noticed that even the website went down and they changed it to something big is coming or coming soon. So I'm waiting for updates on progression from their side before we get an understanding of how soon we can start integrating with the ecosystem. So I know they've got some changes lined up, but what those are, I'm still waiting to get the details on.
Perfect, perfect. And then he says it would be useful to look at the roadmap and make some status updates for items with Q1 ended and Q2 started now. Do you think maybe in the next couple of weeks we could try to get something out with some kind of
Yes,
sheeted
what
graphic
what what
with kind of
what, what
updated
I,
roadmap from
yeah,
perspective?
I agree with that, right? So a roadmap of things we're working on, right? But what I don't like to do is put dates next to like Q1, Q2, right?
Right.
Because with a rapidly evolving space that we're in, and every project does it, right? They give dates out, and then it's like, oh, we didn't get it out by that day, and it's not fair on the users. What I want to do is try and say, okay, look, these are the big ticket items we're working on. Here's a list of features, and we're going to try roll them out in iterative ways, right? So that's something I'm going to address when I'm in Pakistan with Yaka and say, look, how do we get better at informing our community and our user base on what's coming and when it's coming, or the order it's going to come in, rather than the when actually. Uh, Ideally, you would say, near term, which is anything in the next quarter or the following quarter, and then midterm is anything in 6 months and beyond. Long term is okay, anticipate this next year, sort of thing. But that's the way I kind of want to do it. So let me have a think on how we best do it because there's so many things, and what everyone here obviously notices there's ever changing promises on when and what we're going to deliver, right? So it's trying to come up with a fair system of keeping everyone informed without actually um,
Over promising on dates.
overpromising. Exactly. That, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. And then do we have any update on resources and such as far as those getting corrected? She said support's been
Yeah. So
working
this
on
is
this
some
for a
of
few weeks.
the functional stuff. The team was away because they have bank holidays in Pakistan, and as they're coming towards the end of Ramadan, so there's a lot of people taking time off, but they're back on it as of this week, as of Wednesday, yesterday, and next week I am going there to get to the bottom of getting resources corrected, getting the functional elements that we know aren't working lined up. And what I want to do is similar to what we've done with the cribs is, guys, every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you're going to get a release 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. What is our release roadmap for this in terms of releases? Let's do it also based on what's important to the community. And it will be function over visual as well. So there's a few compounding factors that you can join together to understand the rollout of what we're going to do with Prime Dashboard. We did it really well for Cribs. We lagged behind a little bit on the Prime Dashboard, but that's one of the reasons I'm flying out to pack.
Perfect. Going out there to put the whip down. I love it. Um, and then game releases. So the game's been pushed back to May. Are we still on track, you think, for the Minerbot game for, and so everyone's aware, I
Oh,
actually do have
we
the
talked about
Minerbot.
the Minerbot game, right? Yeah. So look, the reason we've got numerous hyper casual mini games. Minerbot game was one of the first ones we were working on. It came back for what we call user acceptance testing, which is, the devs have done their QA, but it's come back to the business and we said, is this good enough to release to our community and to users in the public space? We said no. We said spend some more time, get it right, improve the gameplay, improve the visuals. So they went back to the drawing board on that, and they are improving
Awesome.
visually. It looks better. It's a tougher game now. I thought it was too easy before. I think actually Yaka had found a hack where he can um, position himself in this game and not touch the button, and it will give him like a score of 99999. I was like, dude, like, how'd that get through QA? So we're improving the quality and looking to make our games at a certain degree of quality. So it's not about rushing things as well. It's about making sure we release good ticket items when we do release them.
Love it. And I actually have the Minerbot game downloaded on my phone. I've been playing with it. It is definitely very challenging now.
Yeah,
It's one of those that I like keep like going back and replaying. And I'm like, it makes me keep going back. So I agree. The first kind of game, it was a lot more simple and kind of you lost interest real quick because you could just kind of get through it without doing much. But definitely has come out now a lot more challenging, and I really enjoy it. Um,
yeah.
and then are there any other like major delays that we know of that are coming? We talked about the virtual hubs going to be pushed back, and the exterior
Yeah, the
spaces and stuff.
outdoor spaces as well, right? Being pushed back, right? We know about that. Um, to the DGen community partnership NFTs, right? So like we did the space punch, right?
Yes.
Yes. So just speaking openly, it's gauging when it's best to go live with them, right? Um, so with the focus of our art team being wrapped up on I don't know if we talked about in fact, to spill the beans then, so I won't say it. We haven't talked about the thing. They're wrapped up on the rewards of that system, in terms of 3D art, um, and also for the crafting items. There's a whole bunch of them. Uh, we've kind of paused on getting those out. So yeah, that's delayed at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of it, is really, is there a
I
market
think,
right now to release some of the stuff? Like some of the stuff,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's a lot of weeks and time and both time and money resources that go into it, and then releasing it in this kind of market sometimes is tough because there's just not a whole lot of market here at the moment with the bear market. So kind of holding those aces in our sleeve for when things start kind of improving
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
makes more sense.
Yeah. So a lot of our effort is going on into like how is the NFT space actually evolving, right? There's obviously a big change in the way royalties work and creator fees and platform fees for the marketplaces, and which marketplaces are actually getting the right number of user base is on to actually get people trading NFTs and stuff. So with that, we're focusing on where best can we deliver value, um, rather than just continuing things that aren't working in this market, right?
Right, and this market changes by the hour at times almost on
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's
how
like you
things are
wake
going.
up and whoa, what happens to roller coaster, right? Up and down, up and down.
Exactly. It looks like we have one other question. Any news on the VFlex website? Is that still happening?
Oh, um, uh, how many people know about the Reflex Jetman game? Was that ever spoken about in public?
Yeah. We actually demoed it at CNFTCon last year, and we
Oh
talked
yeah,
about
oh
it
yeah,
a little bit.
absolutely. So I think there's an evolution of that game, and Reflex accompany that game. So we're focusing for the Reflex a lot on that now. I know Dan knows on this call. You expect up a brief of what's next for that. So we've got some interesting things. Maybe in the coming weeks we'll talk a bit about or one of the dev updates, how we're evolving that Reflect game. There will probably be a accompanying Reflect website for that. But the original one, we actually had a whole working prototype uh, for that website, and it just needed content and generation. But again, that got paused because uh, numerous reasons. Yeah.
So expect it with the Jetman game, more of the VFlex kind of integration and the websites and stuff like that kind of coming along that same little timeline with that VFlex game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So for
and
me, it's like there was a conversation like, do we need this separate website for Reflex? Should it be a subdomain? Maybe bring it into our current website and have it live in that ecosystem. Um, and then it's how where are we with Reflex as its own IP and brand? Does it need its own website? So that there was a lot of rethinking going on how we approach it. And I think once we get things like the stainless game out the door and the Reflex game out the door, um, the narrative for understanding what is a reflect and what reflects are available, what reflects can you collect, becomes more powerful, and then it's easier to say, okay, have your own website for it, right?
yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree. Um, and Glenn tagged a question: dashboard issue with resource accumulation with bots being detached. He went over that rolled out a hot fix on Friday, and he is heading to Pakistan this next week to really get a lot of these other
Roll my
problems and
own
issues and
sleeves up and
everything.
be like, come on, guys, let's use my 20 years of dev expertise and get to the bottom of this stuff.
Yeah. So next week, while he's will we have a dev update next week while you guys are out there in Pakistan? You think?
I think we should.
Perfect.
It
Yeah.
makes
So
sense.
that'll be
Yeah.
that'll be we'll probably have some at least better feel for stuff and everything else out there, and probably some pretty good updates and news and info with you guys out there on what you're working with and working on. So that should be a pretty good and I think a dev update would be also kind of like
Yeah.
that one we had last time that you guys were all in. Was it Dubai, Yaka, and everyone was in before workshopping? I believe.
One where Jack and the Bill couldn't connect because of their VPNs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That- but yeah, so next week dev update. We'll have Yaka, Anise,
Absolutely.
Ash, everyone out there in Lahore, kind of really
Yeah.
workshopping on all this stuff. So pretty exciting. Dude, should we expect last thing here real quick, should we expect the Minerbot game out in May?
That's this. I'm expecting June now because, and it's not because of the game. It's because we're trying to build an ecosystem around our games and to make them more meaningful. So they're connected with you play a game, and it's not just a benefit from within that game, but there's a larger benefit in an overarching metaverse and for the guys. So you've got a three-pronged approach, right? So you get it as you got gamers, you got guys that are interested in the metaverse thing, you got guys that are interested in the crypto side, right? So it's how do we create games and a metaverse and crypto experiences that tie those things together. So the rollout of the game is scheduled with rollout of certain items that we're going to be releasing for the metaverse and the crypto side of things as well. So it's a bigger piece than just a game, right? So that's some extra info. Some alpha about the Shelbys. Yeah, we've got some cool things for the Shelby coming. I don't know if you mentioned the Shelby drag racing game that the guys are working on.
Yes.
Um, that we're going to release a little later, but the narrative of why we're releasing that later will become clear um, over the next couple of months. 'Cause we're going to be feeling the way we release things. That's a big key. Um, but, well, it's probably not a big clue, to be honest. There's many ways you can do things. Um,
I kind of say, it kind of ties back to that, given the reason to come, the reason to stay, and the reason to come back. Really tying that game in with more, the games in with more depth and everything. And like you said, it's going to tie in really where cast a larger net. So whether you're a gamer, whether you're more of the social metaverse side, or whether you're more the
mm,
degen kind of crypto side, they'll all be kind of tied together where you cast that large net and there's
mm,
interaction or tie-in between all three. So even if you're not a gamer, you can still participate. Even if you're not a metaverse or social person, you can still participate. And even if you're not a degen or metaverse person, you're just a
exactly.
traditional Web
Yeah.
2, you're still gonna
So,
participate and benefit as well.
Heinz is asking, what are the things being rolled out with the game? Honestly, I so badly want to talk about it, but I
We
can't. I'm going to
we've
wait for Decker
mentioned
on that.
we've mentioned before, but we haven't gone into detail on it. And I'll say it all kind of ties into the Virtua Games Network. And I know we haven't really talked a whole lot on what the Virtua Games Network really is, or kind of what the full concept is behind it. But as that Virtua Games Network rolls out, it'll really kind of tie everything together.
100%, 100%. So it is a Virtual Games Network, and hopefully that will, once we get the structure right for that, that will help us with the road mapping as well, right? Because that will give us a rollout structure for every quarter, and certain activities and events that happen across each quarter of every year. And we'll get better at, just delivering games, collectibles, metaverse experiences
And
within each
onboarding
quarter.
games too. Once that Games Network's up and rolling, onboarding games too will be
Yeah.
a big.
Onboarding. So one of the things I probably can talk about is looking at how do traditional games in the traditional space onboard and provide their DLCs as NFTs to the existing users or to crypto users, right? So we're creating mechanisms to bring their users in a way that they're familiar with, and then getting them to take a journey with us to introduce them to NFTs and introduce them to the metaverse. That isn't something that's gonna scare them, because at the moment it's scary, right? What is this? Why is there value in my wallet? This is worth something. Where do I store my keys? This is quite scary. Or it's quite technical. I don't know if I can do that. So there's a lot of thinking and creating the best user flow or user experience
Yeah,
possible for the users. Yeah.
I mean, I like to give the example, with my boys, my 10-year-old, for example. He's got his Fortnite account, his Minecraft and Roblox and everything else, and he's always, he's not, but I'm always having to buy skins and guns and new items and accessories and everything else like that that's stored on his account. And we do that, and he's got his account, he signs in and has all his stuff. But I personally would not be comfortable with my son having a MetaMask wallet or a Nami wallet, and having to have custody of his items and deal with exchanges and
It's
staking
difficult, right? Yeah, yeah.
NFTs and all that kind of stuff. So
This is where
removing those hurdles.
that's where account abstraction becomes super important, right?
Yes.
It'll take away that headache and make it a bit more. So imagine you can have parent account wallets and child accounts, which the parent account has access to. Like that would be a super cool feature and something that's possible with account abstraction.
Yeah, and that's something, all of us here, myself included, I've degened and aped into Virtua pretty deep, as well as most probably all of our community has. And to us, it's like, come on, come on, come on. Why is it not here? But bigger picture, years down the road when it's a mass market and Virtua is in every home and kids are playing and everything else, these early times are not going to be, even remembered or noticed or known, because it's really about getting it right for that real market. We're not trying to get it right for the couple thousand in the crypto space right now. We're trying to get it right for the, billions in the world, to give them the opportunity and chance to really come in and
Exactly, right? So
participate.
we get those guys coming in, right? Everyone here will become is a real OG, right? And you guys are in before they all FOMO in. So
Yes,
they
and
start winning, you guys win more.
exactly. And I like to think, I saw another CS:GO skin sold for, I think it was $250,000 yesterday. There was one sold for $400,000 like 2 weeks ago,
Was it?
and
Was it? I can't remember. Was it Valorant? Valorant was filing CS:GO skins for their guns, right?
I think so.
There's
Yeah, I
something
think
about that, which is pretty cool, right? So it's like, okay, so we're part of a group called OMA3, right? Which is your equivalent of your uh, there's a W3, which is a World Wide Web Consortium. OM3 is like a consortium of companies looking to improve experiences in the Web3 and the metaverse space, right? And creating standards. So one of the biggest things you're looking at is how do you have assets as NFTs and have them available between all the experiences in a consistent manner, right? How do we get better at that, and how do we improve the user experience? That's one of the things we're trying to tackle. And I think if Valorant can do that, it will be a super cool thing that they're doing. And check out OMA3.org. It's a super cool organization. We are involved. You've got people like Sandbox, Decentraland involved as well. So it's really interesting, right? Because usually, Sandbox CTO wouldn't be talking to me, but now we are, because we want to, as a community of companies, provide the best experiences for everyone out there, right?
yeah, it's really one of those, like, if one wins, we all win kind of thing. Because as adoption and people come in as a roadmap and a path on how to do it successfully come in, then it really kind of lays that path for everyone else. And being able to work together in something like OMA3 with, there's some very large names in there: Animoca, Decentraland, Sandbox, gosh, I can't even,
Yep.
Alien
I'm on,
World.
I'm on, I'm on weekly calls with these guys, and there's some really clever folk, to be honest. And we're doing some
Yeah,
good stuff.
and it's really the main large big known movers in the space all kind of together working together, which is really cool. And it's really exciting for the Web3 space in general, that you have this kind of collaboration and people aren't like, well, I'm not sharing this with you because you're my competitor, but it's more like, hey, let's figure out how to do this together,
Yeah.
because 10 of us
Yeah, I think they've
together is
learned,
better
right?
than one of
Everyone's
us.
taking it separately as far as they can. And you've seen a slowdown now. And the next stage really is, okay, guys, we've all done some cool things individually, but actually we put all these smart minds together now. What can we do together to benefit the entire
Collectively.
ecosystem? And to be honest, that's exactly what was needed for traditional web, right? Without the Web3 consortium, you wouldn't have the HTML or CSS markup standards that we do today that make it so easy to build websites that inform you with so much information, or build the web applications that like Twitter or even Discord, right? Without the guys figuring out the tough nuances of making it easier to build for the web and also easier to use the web, we wouldn't have it where it is today. So like, it's interesting to see where we get to, and we are looking at things like, okay, what would a metaverse browser look like, right? How would you go from one experience to another when it's made by two completely separate entities, right? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting times. You know, it's like early '90s web. You know, it's uh, trying to figure it out. But once it's figured out, I think it's going to go huge. Much like the web. Early.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly,
if
exactly.
anyone old enough to remember the internet when it first came out, it was very clunky, very well compared to what
Yeah,
you would
absolutely.
see today. People would call unuseful. And now
Yeah.
you see it, and it's everywhere and used in every industry, every part of life. You really can't participate in society anymore without having some type of internet connection, and
And
it's
I think
exciting kind of seeing that same direction.
the biggest thing that's released recently, technology-wise, is Chrome's support for WebGPU, which is an evolution of WebGL. So check out WebGPU if you're interested in the tech. It's super powerful, man. It like WebGL is based on like the OpenGL framework, and it's a bit dated, but WebGPU allows you to tie into I think is it Metal for Apple and allows you DirectX and then allows you to get better processing and more optimized code to deliver better virtual experiences in your browser. So I'm super excited by that, and all the big guys, Unreal, Unity, they're looking at how they can provide a way for their engines to support builds with the lower language with GPU coding. So that's some geeky stuff to go check out. That it's going to improve everyone's experiences over the next 2 years, I reckon.
Yes, very exciting times ahead. It's one of those where like I said, right now while we're in it and we're all here at the beginning, it feels like a slow grind, but I really feel like we're gonna hit that catalyst moment where suddenly we hit the top of that hill and then we're just rolling downhill and things are advancing very quickly across the spectrum in Web3 gaming, metaverse, and this whole ecosystem that we're part of. So very exciting times ahead. Anis, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. I appreciate you coming out and joining us. We look forward to it next week while
Yeah.
the team is all out in
So,
Lahore.
yeah, theme is
And
Lahore, and hopefully we'll have some good community updates, especially around Prime Dashboard, crafting, questing. I believe next week is also the drop week for 1.7, so there'll be some cool things to talk about next week.
awesome. Awesome. Excited to dig into it. Well, thank you everyone so much for coming out and joining us. Thank you for all the questions. We cannot thank you enough for all your support and being here with us and hanging with us and growing and building with us. So
100%.
uh, we
You
will
guys are what
talk.
makes it all worth it. So,
What was that? I'm sorry.
as I said, the community is what makes it all worth it, right? Seeing them
Oh,
interact,
100%.
seeing them engage, and when they enjoy it, it's like that's what really matters.
Yes, yes. And I mean, even the critical feedback that we get from all the community, you guys have no idea how much that helps because it's such a small sample size that we're dealing with right now. But the small sample size is what's preparing and building us for the large market that's soon to come. So, when you guys are running into those issues, when you guys have these, suggestions, comments, hey, it would be better if we did it this way. Sometimes it's hard for us to see those things as we're building them, and it takes those outside eyes to really come in and say, hey, this doesn't work for me, I'd rather it this way, or it would work better like this, or those kind of things. And that kind of feedback, while not everything we can do and kind of put in or make sense for the overall vision, a lot of it really does give us some eye opening as to where we should be moving, and that really does feed into a lot of our roadmap and why some things get kind of bumped to the side while other things get made more priority, and kind of keeping that community sense. So we can't thank you all enough, and thank you all for coming out to things like the dev updates and the VFlex weeklies and V Fridays and Scrapyard Twitter Spaces and all those kind of things. It definitely does not go unnoticed. It's what keeps us pumping and churning here behind the scenes. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Anise. Thank you to all our mods and community managers and everyone
It was a
else.
pleasure
And
to be here.
we will talk to you all next week.
Ciao. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
See you, everyone. Thanks.